Someone you love is going to die. Maybe not soon, but someday. And probably sooner than you're ready for. And when it happens, you already know the script. A few days off work, a funeral, people saying, "Let me know if you need anything." Then everyone goes back to their lives, and you're expected to go back to yours.
I'll see you around.
Here's what almost nobody tells you. For 200,000 years, humans never grieved like this. Not even close. What you're doing right now when someone dies is one of the strangest, newest, most isolating inventions in the entire history of our species. You will grieve alone, on a schedule nobody actually agreed to, and you will feel like something is wrong with you for how long it takes. 3 days of bereavement leave, if your employer is generous. A black outfit for one afternoon. A group chat that's warm for a week and silent by the second. And underneath all of it, a quiet, corrosive question you don't say out loud. Why am I still not over this? It isn't you. It's the clock. We didn't invent grief. Grief is old. Older than language. Maybe older than Homo sapiens itself. In Shanidar Cave in northern Iraq, archaeologist Ralph Selecki uncovered Neanderthal remains in the 1960s surrounded by clusters of pollen. Long before modern humans existed, something in the hominin brain already refused to let death pass unmarked. That invention is only a few hundred years old, and it was never designed for your well-being. It was designed for factory shifts and office schedules that don't pause for sorrow. The insight is this: your grief isn't malfunctioning. It's the system around your grief that broke, and it broke recently enough that your body never got the memo. So what do you actually do with that? Not a 5-step plan, because grief was never meant to be solved like a checklist. But there are 3 shifts, in order, that come directly from how humans grieved for most of our history. And each one you can put back into your own life. So what do you actually do with that? Shift 1. Stop timing yourself. 12 months is where the clinical world draws its line. If you're at week 3 and still crying, you're not behind schedule. You're barely at the starting line by any historical standard. Shift 2. Make it visible again. In Victorian England, a widow wore black for a full year, then transitioned through half mourning for months more. You don't need a black dress, but you can say the sentence out loud to the people around you. I'm still grieving, and I'll need that acknowledged for longer than everyone expects. Naming the timeline is how you built the shield your ancestors wore automatically. Shift 3. Stop doing it alone. In Jewish tradition, Shiva sets aside 7 full days where the bereaved don't cook, don't work, don't even answer their own door. The community comes to them. In Ireland, wakes could stretch 2 or 3 days and nights, the whole neighborhood present, refusing to let the family sit with silence by themselves. The single biggest difference between how you grieve and how humans grieved for 200,000 years isn't the length of it. It's that you're mostly doing it by yourself, and they almost never were. Ask for company on purpose. Let someone sit with you, even when there's nothing to say.
Picture a woman in an English village in 1861, 3 weeks after burying her husband. She hasn't returned to her normal chores. Neighbors arrive with food she didn't ask for. Women sit with her for hours, because sitting with her is the task, not a favor squeezed in before something more important. She wears black, and everyone in the market reads it instantly and adjusts how they speak to her. Nobody expects her eyes to be dry. Nobody schedules anything requiring her presence for months. Now, picture a man in 2026, 3 weeks after burying his father. He took 3 days off. He came back to his desk on Thursday. his coworkers stopped mentioning it after the first week. Not out of cruelty, but because nobody told them the timeline is supposed to be longer. He sits alone at night, confused about why he still feels broken, quietly assuming something is wrong with him. Same species, same grief. Two completely different systems built around it. Only one of those systems was built by 200,000 years of human instinct. The other was built by a payroll department. So if you've ever felt broken because you were still not over it after a few weeks, here's the truth nobody hands you at the funeral. You're not grieving wrong. You're grieving right for a species built to mourn out loud for months, surrounded by people. You've just been handed a timeline invented by factories, not by anything human in you. We traded a village's worth of shared mourning for 3 days of bereavement leave and a black outfit. And most of us never even knew what we lost until it was our turn to grieve alone. If this changed how you think about your own timeline or someone else's, tell me about it in the comments. Who did you lose? And how long did people expect you to be fine by? And if you want to understand more about what we quietly gave up on the way to modern life, subscribe. There's a lot more we lost without noticing.